You want to know the real question that I'm going to tell you about just before the grand final of Eurovision starts tomorrow? Yes, I know, but it's not going to be awkward for that. And before I get down to the questions, I might be taking the honorable mention it far enough to be told is that knowing the crisis might be getting underway for this because of this dilemma problem of the boycotting, the controversies of voting, even the nightmares that I'd rather not talk about this because I don't want comments to be linked up with this outrage dilemma that I'm not going to be taking of this comments on and on for that, so I rather keep my mouth shut and let it slide and forgotten. Before I do so for this, you're about to be warned of the answers that I apologize for the notification sound for this. Anyway, you're about to be warned on my answers that I'm going to tell you about, which I'm going to tell everything about of the Q&A segment. So you're about to be warned and forgotten. Oh, and by the way, I already know what this, so you already seen the pictures of those foreign countries, so knowing of this problems, which I'm not going to tell you about. I hope this video will answer this. Why they left the competition for a good reason. So check the video from Say Yes Eurovision, which got tons of everything that you didn't expect of. So check the channel, and not to mention the video out from him, if you mind. Now let's get down with the Q&A, shall we? The answer, not gonna happen. Israel might stay in Eurovision for this or not because of the Eurovision make a pact deal with Moroccan Oil, who happens to be sponsors. If Moroccan Oil ends up pulling out of it, knowing that Israel is still on Eurovision, knowing that the sponsor Moroccan Oil, they made a deal with Eurovision, so it still stands of staying with Eurovision for the time being. We'll let this go and forgotten. And speaking of not leaving, rumors that Martin Green had told the press that Russia might be returned back to Eurovision. That would be a fake rumor, which everybody knows about or not. So I might go ignore that. for now. I don't know which country might need to come back, but I'm not going to stand to take the risk for that. I know rumors that Hungary might be returning back to Eurovision around years, about next year or years to come, because of the new government with the ousted PM. So Hungary might be coming back for this. I don't think that Turkey might not gonna come back for this because the junk happens for this. Don't know. B&H for that. Loads of trouble and debt to pay. They might come back in the foreseeable future for this, but they had to deal with their troubles with the government debts by own towards the EBU for this. For that case, I don't think they might not gonna come back for Eurovision. Unfortunately, they never qualified for the finals. That they end up failing big time, knowing chances of returning back to Eurovision for Angola for the future. That's not gonna happen for us. I think that Russia never might not gonna come back towards Eurovision because of the war with Ukraine, and as well the ban from EBU because of the war against Ukraine, which destroyed completely. Apparently, they end up doing the Intervision Song Contest for this, which is a alternate of Eurovision that the Soviet made for it. I did a video of the battle, a three-way battle of Eurovision versus Russia versus Israel part. So please check out the video if necessary for that. Belarus, they haven't returned from the contest in 2021 because of the disqualification of the song lyrics, which sang for the president of Belarus, which is a disturbing and not to mention a controversial one, which forced Belarus to get kicked out of the competition. That. In North Macedonia, they have financial problems, just like B and H for this, so the time they for that country to return might not gonna happen for this. So apparently I won't ever gonna miss any of them for that. It's a complicated nightmare for this, so let this be. The truth was that I started Eurovi- I started watching Eurovision 6 years ago. First, it was a classic one, a classic Eurovision ones throughout the years, which I didn't expect of this. After I accidentally stumbled of the music gen- gender, sorry, gender for that on the TV, on the HDTV, which I used to have, but now broken for that. I see all the classic Eurovisions throughout the year for this. Sorry that I repeat myself for that. Unfortunately, Eurovision might gonna be taking place in the Netherlands in 2020, but unfortunately, COVID ruined it all. So they end up showing those classic Eurovisions all through the years for that for makeup. But unfortunately, I end up seeing sneak peeks for that, even a clip for this. Since I live in America, and unfortunately for this, they don't have that here in my country, which I live in America for this, which is sad, not to mention a disturbing tidbit for that. Knowing been blurred for this since Europeans, even Australia, ended up hooked up with Eurovision back then, which is a good reminder of favorites as well of least favorite artists, musicians, well, you name it for that. I only see a smidge of the first as well as second semifinals, which I can watch for the past few days ago for that. So I might know will I watch the grand finale for this, knowing the news that YouTube is allowing Eurovision by watching it here in America, knowing that Peacock TV got Eurovision for this. But sadly, I got Peacock for that, but unfortunately Peacock costs expensive to get it, which is a sad reminder, not to mention a downgrade for that. This year's contest is a huge one, and not to mention heavy favorites for that. Knowing which of the countries might be a favorite ones for this. I'm gonna start. The jury favorites might be Cyprus because they got good dance moves, wonderful performance, the vocals is a mix between for that, which I definitely want to know for that. Knowing that Cyprus been qualified towards the finals yesterday, which everybody amazed at this, even comment boards lash out of the vocals, even the staging performance. That'd be a huge amount for that, or a shocker. Thinking the televote, and not to mention televote favorite might be France. Might be a good opera for this, and not to mention a stronger one for that. But thinking that another opera might do good since JJ from Austria had won it last year. Thinking another opera might be doing good. Let the televotes do its magic for that. But the odds is going to be up, and which country might get a win is going to be got a nice song, and not to mention a wonderful staging, even the performance for this. I think that Finland might get a win for this. Knowing it could be a second time of hosting Eurovision for that. Time will tell for this. Second might be Greece for this. It's a funny but catchy one. Catchy performance, even the staging, props, fantastic, and the vocals is very good for this. So knowing that Greece might be hosting for this, so it'll be a second one for that. By the way, Israel for this case might be going one for this, knowing that they might go win for it. So might be the fifth time to be hosting it, but it depends on it. And the wild card might be depending on where Bulgaria, even Romania, don't really know for this, or even Denmark for that, and of course Australia for that. Good stuff. But apparently Australia cannot host Eurovision for this because of the time zone problems for this. Thinking that Europe might be thinking of European countries might gonna host a Eurovision in favor of Australia for this, but we'll see for that. I listened to some of these songs for that, but I don't have a favorite song for this. It's just can me pop out in the mind for this. Knowing some songs are good, others disturbing, so it might be a gender. I might be not a music gender for this, but sorry, let's pronounce it. Know that I might go watch Eurovision or not because of everybody's boycotting that Israel is taking part in a competition. Is going to mix between divided, so I don't know for that. So, but this way that I need to figure this out on my own. That I might go watch Eurovision or not, knowing this is my first time watching Eurovision, and watching classics. So, wait and see for it. So that's it for now. Until then.